NEC 250.32 addresses the grounding requirements for structures other than dwellings. According to this section, structures other than dwellings must be grounded by at least one grounding electrode, which often takes the form of a ground rod, at each building or structure. The key here is understanding what constitutes a structure in the eyes of the National Electrical Code, or NEC. In the context of an RV pedestal, the question arises whether it qualifies as a separate structure necessitating its own grounding electrode system. The NEC defines a structure as that which is built or constructed. More specifically, it is a building or other structure intended for human habitation or occupancy. Applying this definition, an RV pedestal can indeed be considered a separate structure, even if it's located a short distance away, such as 20 feet from the main service pedestal. Its function as a distribution point for electrical power to an RV classifies it as an independent entity within the electrical system. Therefore, it would fall under the purview of NEC 250.32 To clarify further, NEC 551, which deals with recreational vehicles and recreational vehicle parks, does not dictate the grounding requirements for RV pedestals themselves. Instead, it focuses on the electrical systems within the recreational vehicles and the overall wiring and safety standards of RV parks. The code references related to recreational vehicles and parks do not supersede the general requirements outlined in NEC 250.32 regarding the grounding of separate structures. Therefore, the RV pedestal, acting as a standalone structure providing electrical connections to RV, necessitates its own grounding electrode system, typically consisting of one or more ground rods. The reason for this requirement is to ensure electrical safety and to provide a low impedance path for fault current to return to the source, which is crucial for the proper operation of overcurrent protection devices like circuit breakers and fuses. This low impedance path helps to quickly clear ground faults, minimizing the risk of electrical shock and potential damage to equipment. It's important to note that simply having a 4-wire feeder running from the service pedestal to the RV pedestal is not sufficient to satisfy the grounding requirements for the RV pedestal. The grounding electrode system at the RV pedestal must be independent of the grounding electrode system at the service pedestal. This means that you cannot rely on the grounding conductor within the feeder to provide the necessary grounding for the RV pedestal. Instead, you must install separate grounding electrodes, such as ground rods, at the RV pedestal and connect them to the grounding busbar within the pedestal. The size and type of grounding electrodes required will depend on the specific conditions at the site, such as soil resistivity and local regulations. However, as a general rule, it is recommended to install at least 2 ground rods that are spaced at least 6 feet apart. The grounding conductors connecting the ground rods to the grounding busbar should also be sized appropriately, based on the size of the feeder conductors. In conclusion, even though an RV pedestal may be located close to the main service pedestal, it is still considered a separate structure under NEC 250.32 and therefore requires its own grounding electrode system. This system typically consists of one or more ground rods and must be independent of the grounding electrode system at the service pedestal. Following these grounding requirements is essential for ensuring electrical safety and protecting people and equipment from potential hazards.